I never imagined my life would fall apart during Thanksgiving dinner. The irony of discovering such betrayal on a day meant for gratitude still haunts me. But let me tell you exactly how my wife of 12 years and my best friend of 2 decades shattered my world over turkey and cranberry sauce. The afternoon started typically enough. Our suburban Boston home was filled with the usual holiday aromas: roasting turkey, pumpkin pie, and my mother's famous stuffing. Autumn, my wife, was arranging flowers on our dining table, her auburn hair cascading over her shoulders as she meticulously adjusted each bloom. I always loved watching her do this. She had an eye for detail that made her excellent at her real estate job. "Wes confirmed he's coming, right?" she asked, not meeting my eyes. Looking back, I should have noticed how her hands trembled slightly while arranging those damn flowers. Wes Parker, my best friend since college, had never missed our Thanksgiving dinner in 8 years. "Yeah, he'll be here around 6, I replied, checking my watch. It was 4:30 p.m. My sister Caroline arrived first with her husband and kids, followed by my parents and Autumn's younger brother. The house quickly filled with the chaos of family, children running around, my father arguing about politics with Autumn's brother, my mother trying to help in the kitchen despite Autumn's polite protests. I was in the middle of opening a bottle of wine when I noticed something odd. Autumn kept checking her phone, which wasn't unusual for a real estate agent, but there was something different about her behavior. Her green eyes would dart quickly to the screen, and she'd either smile slightly or frown, quickly tucking the phone away if anyone came near. By 5:45 p.m. we were all seated at the table. Autumn looked stunning as always in her burgundy sweater dress that complemented her fair skin. But there was tension in her shoulders, a nervousness I hadn't seen before. Her phone lay face up next to her wine glass, another unusual choice, as she typically kept it in her purse during family dinners. The turkey was perfectly cooked, and everyone was passing dishes around when it happened. The distinctive sound of an iPhone notification cut through the dinner chatter. It wasn't the regular ding. It was the specific tone she used for important messages. The screen lit up, visible to everyone near her end of the table. I wouldn't have looked. I really wouldn't have. But Autumn's sudden movement to grab the phone caught my attention, and that's when I saw it. The name Wes, with a message preview that began, "I can't wait to hold you, Ag." The room didn't go silent. The children were still chattering. My mother was still telling some story about her bridge club, but in my world, every sound became muffled, distant. I stared at Autumn, who was now clutching her phone, her face drained of color. Our eyes met, and in that moment, before any words were spoken, I knew. 12 years of marriage, and I knew exactly what that look meant. "Griffin," she whispered, using my full name instead of Griff. I can explain, but sometimes explanations are just pretty wrappings around ugly truths. And as I sat there, watching my wife's perfectly manicured hands tremble around her phone, I realized our Thanksgiving dinner was about to become a very different kind of family gathering. "I can explain," Autumn repeated, her voice barely audible over the clinking of silverware and family chatter. But I couldn't move, couldn't speak. My sister Caroline, always the perceptive one, noticed the shift in atmosphere and slowly lowered her fork. "Let me see your phone," I finally managed to say, my voice surprisingly steady despite the earthquake happening in my chest. The conversations around the table gradually died down as others began sensing the tension. "Griffin, please, not here," Autumn pleaded, her green eyes filling with tears. But it was too late. The damage was already spreading like wine on a white tablecloth. My mother stopped mid-sentence about her bridge club story, and my father's fork clattered against his plate, Show me the phone, Autumn. My words came out harder this time, each syllable sharp enough to cut through the thickening air. She clutched the device closer to her chest, but her hands were shaking so badly she nearly dropped it. "What's going on?" my father asked, his booming voice breaking the tension. I couldn't look at him. I couldn't look at anyone except my wife, this stranger wearing my wife's face. Autumn's brother, seated next to her, glanced at the phone she was still gripping. His eyes widened slightly, and I knew he had seen something. "Autumn," he said softly, "just tell him." The children were ushered away from the table by Caroline's husband, who had always been good at reading rooms. My mother started to protest but fell silent when she saw my face. "How long?" I asked, though I wasn't sure I wanted the answer. Autumn's mascara was starting to run, black tears tracking down her perfect complexion. "Griffin, please, how long?" The force of my voice made everyone jump. The turkey grew cold, forgotten, as our family dinner transformed into an interrogation. 2 years, she whispered, and the words hit me like physical blows. It started at the Christmas party, when Wes's company merged with my real estate firm. 2 years? 2 years of lies? 2 years of family dinners, vacation plans, morning kisses. 2 years of Wes coming over for barbecues, bringing expensive wines, laughing at my jokes. 2 years of him sitting in my home, looking me in the eye, all while... "I never meant for it to happen," Autumn continued, words tumbling out now like she couldn't stop them. "We were working late on property listings, and one thing led to another. I wanted to tell you so many times." My sister reached for my hand under the table, but I pulled away. The room was spinning, memories rewriting themselves in real time. Every late meeting, every business trip, every time Wes had to crash on our couch after drinking too much. "He's coming here tonight," I said, the realization hitting me like a truck. "You invited him to Thanksgiving dinner. Both of you sat here planning this dinner, knowing..." "I'll tell him not to come." Autumn reached for her phone again, but I grabbed it first. The screen was still lit up with his message. "I can't wait to hold you again tonight. Save me a seat next to you." My mother started crying softly, and my father was using his napkin to wipe his forehead, something he only did when extremely stressed. Autumn's brother had his head in his hands. "No," I said, standing up slowly. "Let him come. Let's make this a real Thanksgiving confession." The doorbell rang. The doorbell's chime might as well have been a bomb detonating in our dining room. Autumn jumped up, knocking over her wine glass. The red liquid spread across our white tablecloth like blood, but nobody moved to clean it up. "I'll get it," my father said, starting to rise, but I held up my hand. "No, let Autumn get the door. Let's see how she handles this." My voice sounded foreign to my own ears, cold, detached, almost cruel. But cruelty seemed appropriate now, given the circumstances. Autumn walked to the door like a condemned prisoner approaching the gallows. I could see her hands shaking as she reached for the doorknob. The rest of the family sat in paralyzed silence, watching the scene unfold like some twisted holiday theater production. "Hey, beautiful! Happy thanks!" Wes's voice trailed off as he stepped inside and saw all our faces. He was carrying a bottle of expensive wine, probably the same brand he'd brought the night he first slept with my wife. He was wearing the sweater I'd given him for his birthday last month. "Griffin," he said, his confident smile faltering. "What's going on?" "Funny you should ask, Wes." I stood up, still holding Autumn's phone. "We were just discussing your text messages, particularly the one about holding my wife tonight." The color drained from his face so quickly I thought he might faint. Good. I wanted him to feel sick. I wanted him to feel a fraction of what was churning inside me. "Listen, man, I can explain." The same words Autumn had used. They must have rehearsed their excuses together, probably lying in bed laughing about how they'd fool me if they ever got caught. 2 years, I said, walking toward him. 2 years of coming to my house, eating at my table, looking me in the eye while you were sleeping with my wife. Memories started flooding back, each one more painful than the last. The business conference in Chicago, where Autumn had insisted on going, even though it wasn't her territory. The late-night strategy meetings that always seemed to involve just the two of them. The way they'd sometimes share private jokes at family gatherings, little moments I'd dismissed as friendly banter. "Remember last Christmas?" I asked, my voice rising. "When you bought matching gifts for everyone? Those custom photo frames? Were you thinking about fucking my wife while you wrapped my present?" "Griffin," my mother gasped, but I couldn't stop. The dam had broken. Or how about Sarah's wedding last summer? When you two disappeared for an hour and claimed you were helping the caterers? Were you together then too? Autumn's sob confirmed it. She'd slumped against the wall, mascara completely ruined now, looking nothing like the polished real estate agent who closed million-dollar deals with a smile. "We never meant to hurt you," Wes said, taking a step forward. "It just happened." Just happened. For 2 years. Did you just happen to book the same hotels? Just happen to plan your business trips together? Just happen to destroy my marriage and our friendship? My sister Caroline stood up. "I think we should give them some privacy," she suggested. But I laughed, a harsh, broken sound. "Privacy? They've had plenty of privacy for 2 years. No, we're going to handle this right here, right now, in front of everyone. Consider it our Thanksgiving entertainment." The turkey was stone cold now, the gravy congealing in its boat. Outside, through our bay windows, I could see our neighbors' holiday lights twinkling cheerfully, oblivious to the destruction happening within our walls. The silence in the room was deafening, broken only by Autumn's quiet sobs and the distant sound of children playing upstairs, blissfully unaware of the drama unfolding below. Wes still stood in the entryway, the expensive wine bottle dangling, forgotten from his fingers. "Sit down," I commanded, pointing to an empty chair at the table. "Both of you." My voice had taken on an authority I didn't know I possessed. Perhaps it was the professor in me, used to commanding attention in lecture halls. They obeyed like scolded children, Autumn's auburn hair falling forward to hide her face, Wes looking everywhere but at me. The family remained frozen in their seats, unwitting audience to this holiday tragedy. "Now," I said, placing Autumn's phone in the center of the table, "let's talk about all those business trips. Seattle in March, Paris in June. Were those real estate conventions actually love getaways?" "Griffin, please," Autumn whispered, but I cut her off. "Answer the question." My hands were shaking now, but my voice remained steady. "Were those trips what you said they were?" Wes cleared his throat. "No," he admitted. We planned them together." The confession hit like a physical blow. I remember driving Autumn to the airport for that Paris trip, kissing her goodbye, telling her to take lots of pictures. She had brought me back a vintage wine opener from a French flea market. I wondered now if Wes had helped her pick it out between their romantic dinners and hotel room rendezvous. "And the late-night meetings," I pressed on. "The ones where you were supposedly working on that big development project." "Some were real," Autumn interjected quickly. "The Morrison deal was genuine. We really did." "Don't you dare." I slammed my hand on the table, making the dishes rattle. "Don't you dare try to justify this with half-truths." My father stood up suddenly. "Son, maybe we should—" "No, Dad, stay. I want witnesses to this. I want everyone to know exactly what kind of people they are. I turned back to the guilty pair. Tell them about Christmas. Tell them about how you exchanged gifts in front of everyone, knowing what you were doing behind my back. Wes finally looked up, his face ashen. We never meant for it to go this far. It was supposed to be a one-time thing, but what? I laughed bitterly. The sex was too good to stop. The thrill of deceiving me was too exciting. It wasn't like that, Autumn protested. We fell in love. The words hung in the air like poison gas. My mother let out a small gasp, and Caroline muttered something under her breath that sounded like a curse. Love? I repeated the word, as if it were in a foreign language. Love made you lie to me for 2 years. Love made you betray our marriage vows. Love made you... I turned to Wes. Betray 20 years of friendship. We were going to tell you, Wes said quietly. After the holidays. We had a plan. Oh, how considerate of you both, I spat. Waiting until after the holidays to blow up my life. Were you going to serve that news with Christmas pudding or save it for New Year's Eve? The expensive wine bottle still sat in front of Wes, its label catching the light. It was the same brand we'd shared at his wedding. His wedding, where I'd been his best man, where I'd given a speech about loyalty and friendship. I want to know everything, I said, my voice dropping to a dangerous quiet. Every detail, every lie, every moment you stole from my life, and you're going to tell me right here, right now, in front of everyone who trusted you both. The next hour was an exercise in torture. Every confession, every detail they shared was another knife in my chest. The story spilled out in bits and pieces, each revelation worse than the last. Their first kiss in his office after the Christmas party, secret weekends disguised as business trips, private jokes and stolen moments at family gatherings. The beach house in Cape Cod, Autumn admitted, her voice barely audible. When I said I was going with my girlfriends... Stop, I interrupted, suddenly feeling nauseated. That was the weekend I'd stayed home grading papers, feeling guilty that I couldn't join her for a relaxing getaway. I'd even called to check if she was having a good time. My mother had left the room crying 10 minutes ago, my father following close behind. Caroline stayed, her hand gripping her wine glass so tightly I thought it might shatter. Autumn's brother sat with his head bowed, occasionally shaking it in disbelief. What about Sarah's wedding? I asked, though I already knew the answer. When you disappeared for an hour? Wes shifted uncomfortably in his chair. Yes, he admitted. We met in the, garden house. I remember dancing with Autumn that night, telling her how beautiful she looked in her blue dress. She'd seemed distracted, and now I knew why. She'd been planning her next rendezvous with my best friend. I want a divorce, I said suddenly, the words falling from my mouth before I'd even fully formed the thought. Autumn's head snapped up, her green eyes wide with shock. Griffin, please, we can work through this, she pleaded. We can get counseling, we can... Work through this? I laughed, but it sounded more like a sob. Work through 2 years of lies? Work through you sleeping with my best friend, planning a future with him behind my back? I'll move out tonight, she whispered, finally accepting the inevitability of the situation. No, I stood up, my chair scraping against the hardwood floor. You two deserve each other. Keep the house. I'll be the one leaving. Caroline started to protest, but I held up my hand. I need to get out of here. I can't look at these walls anymore. Every photo, every piece of furniture, it's all tainted now. I turned to Wes, who hadn't spoken in several minutes. You know what the worst part is? I trusted you with everything. My fears, my dreams, my marriage problems. Were you laughing about that too? Giving me advice while sleeping? With my wife, he couldn't meet my eyes. That was answer enough. The sound of children laughing drifted down from upstairs, a jarring reminder of the normal world that existed beyond this room. The turkey sat forgotten, the stuffing cold, cranberry sauce congealing in its crystal dish. Our perfect Thanksgiving dinner had become a crime scene, with my marriage as the victim. I'll have my lawyer contact you next week, I said, my voice hollow. Don't try to call me, either of you. I walked to the door, grabbed my coat and paused. The family photos in the hallway seemed to mock me now. Smiling faces at barbecues, holidays, vacations. How many of those moments had been real? How many had been performances in their elaborate deception? Happy Thanksgiving, I said bitterly, and walked out into the cold November night, leaving behind 12 years of marriage, 20 years of friendship, and every certainty I'd ever had about love and trust. Behind me, I could hear Autumn crying, but for the first time in our marriage, her tears meant nothing to me. They were just another performance in a play I never knew I was part of. One week after the Thanksgiving disaster, I sit in my sister Caroline's guest room, staring at my phone. 17 missed calls from Autumn, 23 from Wes, and countless text messages I haven't opened. The divorce papers are spread across the bed, their legal language attempting to quantify 12 years of marriage into assets and liabilities. The news spread quickly through our social circle. It's fascinating how people choose sides in situations like this. Some friends stopped speaking to all of us, too uncomfortable with the mess. Others took clear stances, most in my favor, though a few defended Autumn and Wes's true love. Those ones got blocked on social media immediately. My mother calls daily, alternating between crying and rage. She ran into Autumn at the grocery store yesterday and caused a scene, something completely out of character for her usually reserved demeanor. Dad says she threw a can of cranberry sauce at Autumn's cart. I should feel embarrassed, but honestly, I'm proud of her. The university granted me emergency leave for the remainder of the semester. My students probably think I'm having a breakdown, and maybe I am. How do you process discovering your entire life was a carefully constructed lie? Every memory is tainted now, requiring re-examination. Was she thinking of him when we renewed our vows on our 10th anniversary? Was he sleeping with her when he helped me pick out her birthday present last year? Caroline's been my rock through all this. She hired me the best divorce lawyer in Boston and hasn't once said, "I told you so," even though she never fully trusted Autumn. Something about her was always too perfect, she said yesterday. Like she was playing a role. The hardest part isn't the betrayal, though that burns like acid in my chest. It's the loss of my past. Every happy memory is now suspect, every shared moment potentially fake. They didn't just steal my present and future, they retroactively destroyed my past. Yesterday, I drove past our house, my house, and saw Wes's car in the driveway. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. The neighbors must be having a field day with this scandal. Mrs. Peterson across the street, who always brought us Christmas cookies, sent me a card expressing her sympathies. Somehow, that small gesture made me cry more than anything else this week. The divorce lawyer says I have a strong case for an advantageous settlement, given the infidelity and the length of the affair. But how do you calculate the monetary value of betrayal? What's the dollar amount for discovering your wife and best friend were living a double life? I've started seeing a therapist. Dr. Harrison says I'm handling things remarkably well, but I think she's just being kind. I'm not handling anything I'm surviving minute by minute, hour by hour. Sometimes I wake up and for a split second, everything's normal. Then reality crashes back, and I have to learn to breathe again. But here's what I've learned in this week of hell. I'm stronger than I knew. Each day I get up. I shower. I eat. I exist. And each day it hurts a little less. Not much, but enough to notice. Tomorrow I'm viewing apartments. Caroline insists I can stay with her as long as I need, but I need to rebuild, start fresh, create new memories that don't include Autumn's green eyes or Wes's betrayal. They say living well is the best revenge. Right now, I'm just focusing on living. The well part can come later. For now, I'm taking it one day at a time, learning to trust again, starting with myself. As I fold up the divorce papers and prepare for another sleepless night, I realize something. This isn't just an ending, it's also a beginning. And maybe, just maybe, that's something to be thankful for.